Prosperity, love to the family. This is Minister Corbin reporting live. This is going to be an amazing presentation. I know you guys hear me say that so many times, but seriously, it is. Yes, we're in the age of Aquarius. Yes, we are in the fifth dimension. Yes, we are in the quantum world. Yes, we have elevated our minds for the ones who are watching this video at the time. What does this mean? This means that at this time, you have a divine power, and it's time for you to access that divine power through your mind, through knowing who you are and believing who you are. By knowing who you are. Because once you know who you are, there's no need for belief at all anymore. In this video, we will be focusing on the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Because now this Christ energy is approaching us. It's here. And with that Christ energy comes a divine feminine energy that always has been here, that has been hindered by a hyper masculine energy. This hyper masculine energy has become so powerful over the past generations that it has created its own entity. This hyper masculine entity that has become created by our ancestors has become so powerful that it is even mentioned in the Bible. And some people to this day call it God. Not knowing that the true God is within you. But we're going to leave the Bible stuff on the side for today because I want to focus once again on the attributes and the aspect of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Because I don't care if you refer to yourself as male or female or in between. Each one of us, male and female, has male and female aspects within us. This is a proven fact, and as I read more, you will see that. In this age of Aquarius, where we are now reconnecting with the divine source, which is a divine feminine energy and a balance of the divine masculine energy, we're going to see a shift. And mark my words on this, as sure you watch this video. In the upcoming years, we're going to see a shift from what used to be a hyper-masculine society just controlled by the masculine energy. And we have seen the consequences of what has happened in this world when we have had a hyper-masculine men who have dominated not just the minds of females, but the minds of everybody to their likening. This has been going on for centuries. Now the pendulum is going to change and shift. And this feminine energy is going to approach us. Now, as this book says, we can only hope that the lower levels of the female energies have a certain mercy on what has been done as a whole to the divine masculine and feminine, because there's supposed to be a balance. We have seen through the hyper masculine world that we have been in and is about to leave. We have seen the repercussions of that. So before we go into this great divine golden age that so many people talk about, the shift between the hyper masculine and now the divine feminine energy coming back, there's going to be some storms before the calm is what I'm saying. So as minister in metaphysics, it is my duty to let my brothers and sisters, you know what time we're in. Because if you're focusing on news, if you're focusing on politics, if you're focused on who's about to be in the White House, you're focusing on the wrong things, I'm sorry to say. Your focus should be internally. Your focus should be within, to the inner world, the inner country, the inner planet, the inner galaxy within you, because we are connected to the cosmos. And before I go in on this amazing presentation, more now than ever are we connected to the cosmos, my family. Are you ready for an amazing presentation in 5, 4, 3, 2, and I haven't even made a title for this. This how good you know it's about to be. 1, let's go, family. Welcome to the Darius Corbin Mystery School, the home of the esoteric and metaphysics. This is Minister Corbin reporting live. Once again, welcome to the home of the esoteric and metaphysical knowledge. When we come into embodiment, our karmic history influences whether we would choose male or female bodies for any particular lifetime. I told you it's going to be a great presentation. When we come into embodiment, our karmic history influences whether we would choose male or female bodies for any particular lifetime. This outcome is determined from a broad perspective of balancing factors and influences inherited in all aspects of creation. From a metaphysical perspective, everything in the universe as we know it, it is a result of the interplay between oppositely charged forces within your spirit-matter relationship. This duality contains the key interlocking components of creation and all manifested life and matter. As humans, we experience this duality in many ways, but perhaps the most personal is through our gender bodies as male or female. Through their physical union, these powerful and creative forces produce the bodies for future generations of humanity. Let me read that one again, brothers and sisters. As humans, we experience this duality in many ways, but perhaps the most personal is through our gender bodies as male or female. Through their physical union, these powerful and creative forces produce the bodies for future generations of humanity. As masculine and feminine principles, these aspects are the essential divine creative powers within each of us, seeking expression and synthesis for our spiritual growth, psychological balance, and physical well-being. I want us to stop there just for a minute. Listen to the words that I just told you. Meditate on the words. We are at a time now where you must know who you are. Look at my previous videos. This is why I tell you about Christ, the one that people call Jesus, real name Yeshua, however you want to say it. This is what he was trying to tell you in that Bible that is really just a magical, metaphysical spell book, all in one. You have to go within yourself. You must know yourself. You must know that the Father, through the mind, connects you to the Father. The mind is the Father. And we are connected to that through our mind. Okay, now that you have took the time, I'm about to go back in. But these breaks are necessary because I want you to understand the words that are being said. You are more than just a physical body. That's why they can clone and they can artificial intelligence, AI, artificial intelligence. That's why they can do that. But they can't manipulate the soul. Never. You can't duplicate that. Let's continue going on. Physically, our body gender skews, that's SKEWS, skews or shapes the way we relate to the characteristics of our feminine and masculine natures. Let me read that again. Physically, our body gender skews or shapes the way we relate to the characteristics of our feminine and masculine natures, as well as our instinctual reactions. That means how we act on instant or responses to the physical world. On a personality level, the masculine and feminine are usually unconscious essences or energies that drive and influence psychological behavior in our individual and collective life. That part, family, I want to slow down carefully and make sure that I'm reading this right so you can understand. I understand what they're saying. I know some of you do, but I want to make sure that everybody watching and listening is understanding what has just been said here. On a personality level, remember, Christ said he is no respecter of persons. Why? The Latin word for person is persona. Once you break that word down, it means a mask. personality is masked. You go to work and you put that face on. You're not really happy, but you put that persona on. That's why Christ said he is no respecter of person, because he knows you within. He knows the true essence of who you are. But let's go back to where we were. On a personality level, the masculine and feminine are usually unconscious essences or energies that drive and influence psychological behavior. I'm going to read that one more time because this is very important. On a personality level, the masculine and feminine are usually unconscious essences or energies that drive and influence psychological behavior in our individual and collective life. Now, if you study psychology 101, you know this, but the average person may not know this. What are you saying, minister? Your behaviors on a day-to-day basis are being controlled by internal forces that you don't know about. Prime example, I'm going to give you this example. An iceberg. An iceberg, you can only see the tip of the iceberg. You can only visibly see that. But submerged is the mass or the rest of the body of the iceberg. Are you getting what I'm saying? You're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. So when you see a person, you're only seeing the personality. But underneath, within that person, subconsciously, they say unconsciously, but really subconsciously, is who you really are. And who you really are being governed by creative forces that you can't see because they are working invisibly within you. Are you understanding me? That's what that's saying. But I'm going to read it again so you can hear it professionally. On a personality level, once again, the masculine and feminine are usually unconscious essences or energies that drive and influence psychological behavior in our individual and collective life. On a spiritual level now, when allowed to develop and nurture us consciously, they are the divine essence of the true feminine and masculine creative energy that unites the aspects in each of us internally and the genders externally, inside and outside, a balance. Although we might not recognize this truth, I believe gender is one of the most basic I believe that gender is one of the most basic, psychically continuous and divisive distinction amongst human beings, the author says. Besides the female or male division in our body types, listen up. Gender also divides us in orientation towards our physical, psychological, and social life. Let's read that again, because now we're in the age of social media. So imagine the change. Let's read that again. Besides the female or male division in our body types, gender also divides us in orientation towards our physical, psychological, and social life. This division often polarizes the focus of our consciousness towards humanly defined female or masculine perspectives, attitudes, and roles in life. Because of these factors, it is often difficult for us to begin thinking of our core spiritual essence apart from gender identification. That is a powerful statement too. What they are saying is, with so many influence, especially outside of us, social life, people telling you, it's cool to be this way sexually, and it's cool to be that way sexually, or you can't be this way sexually. You damn sure can't be that way sexually. It kind of gives a blockage on your spiritual growth. You're supposed to have a healthy balance of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, because I don't care if you're a male, you have a female aspect or part of you. I don't care if you're female, you're going to have a male aspect or part of you. There's supposed to be a balance, but because of things like physical aspects, psychological aspects, and of course social aspects, and we're living in the age of social media now. So these dictate and hinder the spiritual growth of the divine masculine and feminine within both of us. Within all of us, Gender bodies, Gender bodies, along with our social definition and value of their roles, positions, and vocations, do not define us. Although our victimization and matter might lead us to believe they do, hit a chord with some of them. Let's read that one again. Gender bodies, along with our social definition and value of their roles, position, and vocations, do not define us, world. Although our victimization and matter might lead us to believe they do, we ultimately define ourselves through the qualification of energy. Woo! Everything is energy, right? We ultimately define ourselves through the qualification of energy we identify with, internalize, and express in the world. Let's read that one more time. We ultimately define ourselves through the qualification of energy we identify with, internalize, and express in the world. As children, however, we are led to a gender identification of our being as part of our body-centered identity. Let me make sure I'm reading that right. As children, however, we are led to a gender identification of our being as part of our body-centered identity. And that's true. You have kids now who are not even before they turn 7. They don't have a choice on what they're going to be now as far as sex roles, male or female. It used to come natural. Let's talk about this. Let's make this a comfortable conversation. You have parents, because they don't feel comfortable in their skin, are now dictating how their kids are going to be. We see it in Hollywood. We see it in everyday life. Because we see it in Hollywood, we're going to see it now prevalent in everyday life. Because now life imitates art instead of the other way around now. There's something else to think about. Because this is our first orientation to our masculine or feminine energy expression, it becomes associated and attached to our gender bodies. Later, as adults, we have the potential to move beyond this conditioning towards a masculine-feminine reunification and balance within our higher selves. Because truly, that's what our job is now, family. Is to raise the higher self right back, to raise our lower selves right back to our higher selves. We have fell from grace. Before this physical world, family, we had a spiritual world that we were living. We just forgot. Our past life experiences, speaking of which, our past life experiences as males and females and their recorded karma. Listen to Rudolf Steiner. Listen to Gerald Massey. Listen to Dr. Delbert Blair. Listen to Bobby Hemming. Listen to these great people, even H.P. Belansky. Listen to these people who took the work. Carl Jung. Listen to these people. Plato, Socrates. Listen to these people who told you about your past life experience. Reincarnation was something that they took out of church. Astral traveling was something they took out of church. Our past life experiences as males and females and their recorded karma condition, the way we express through the matter of our bodies, certainly there are real and factual physical characteristics to our gender differences. However, each plays an integral role in the balance of all inner and outer life. If this is true, then why is it so difficult for us to appreciate and embrace this equality? Understanding the gender conflict in the world today involves looking at what the feminine and masculine represent from a spiritual viewpoint. And as a metaphysical minister, that's my job. So at 19 minutes, we only have 19 minutes, family, man, this is a powerful one. This is class. Not only are you my students, but you are my brothers and sisters in Christhood. We did this many thousands of, some even million years ago, we done this. We came back to awaken the minds, and this is a joyous occasion. Yes, we have been through struggling times in the past. Yes, we had to go through some things that normal people couldn't even bear. Yes, I know. But now you are the teachers. Now you are the masters. Now you are the magi's. You are Christ. And it's time to wake up the rest of the brothers and sisters. You are time and time to rejoice. This is a joyous occasion, family. And it is an honor to be behind you in this tube to let you know this. And I thank my teachers, the Dr. Delbert Blairs, the Charles and Murda Fillmores, the Mary S. Tompkins, so many more. It's just too many to name right now. Too many. Reverend Nike, Les Brown. In looking beyond the physical body, we see that there are two other duality aspects, our inner and outer nature and focus. First, at the level of our human personality, our mental, emotional, and etheric double bodies each have a dominant and submissive aspect. Stop thinking you just a physical body, man. Stop it. Stop thinking these problems that we're facing is real problems. We're just visitors who chose to visit. In looking beyond the physical body, we see that there are two other duality aspects, our inner and outer nature and focus. First, at the level of our human personality, our mental, emotional, and ether double bodies each have a dominant and submissive aspect. This means that besides the difference in their matter type and devic body, D-E-V-I-C, please write that word down and look it up. D-E-V-I-C. You talk about angels, look that word up. Now let's continue going. This means that besides the difference in their matter type and devic body consciousness, our subtle bodies each have an active and passive side or component. It is important to internalize the ways these active and passive components work together with gender aspects. We must learn to set aside our conditioning of gender traits and the competitive male-female dominance that the world ranked them as inferior or superior. My brothers and sisters, did you hear that? As a Christ being talking to you, I'm asking you, did you hear that? If you turn on TV, you listen to the news, they have this beef. They have played this beef out where it's a beef between the masculine and the feminine, the woman and the man, the god and the goddess, the king and the queen. There's this opposing. We didn't do that. They did it. We are supposed to be in unity. Look at the household now. Even before the nuclear family term was even existed, we were a unit. Back in our tribal days, we were a unit. We didn't need nobody outside of us to teach us about the spiritual aspects and the values of family. It was installed through our ancestors, through God within us. We have let social media, we have let churches, we have let religion dictate who we are instead of us being as a people, coming together as a people, as one. Gosh, what has happened to us? It is important to internalize the ways these active and passive components work together with gender aspects. We must learn to set aside our conditioning of gender traits and the competitive male-female dynamics that would rank them as inferior or superior. Gender bias is an illusion anyway. Gender bias is an illusion anyway. Hey, TikTok, gender bias is an illusion anyway. It works against and divides the unity of human activity and It works against and divides the unity of human activity and divine creative purpose. These competitive characterizations are more role-specific and are usually associated with levels of leadership, skill, and knowledge. They in no way reflect the qualities of the being or the energy. An individual contributes, guys, because this Christ energy is very powerful. It is important to learn to embrace each aspect individually and equally, since each plays an essential creative role in our world and lives. Now, at this time, I'm going to take a quick break because as I read to you, my brothers and sisters, I feel energy, and I feel your energy, and I feel my energy, and I feel the energy from the cosmos. So I am learning to take breaks through videos because this is a very powerful energy that I withhold. And I thank Divine Mother and Father every time. I thank you guys every time as well. My whole life has governed me for this. I'm now ordained metaphysical minister, and this means so much because my whole life I was that kid in church that said, no, this is more to my life than just I'm being condemned and going to hell. No. For something I didn't do? No. A sin? Family, sin only means that you missed the mark. It's not a condemnation. Don't let these Orthodox preachers and reverends fool you. Give me a drink of water right quick. I thank y'all for y'all patience. Whoever my water is. Oh, it's right beside me. We're about to go back in. I just needed time to balance this amazing energy out. Because as I read this to you guys, it's our life. And once you realize the power that you have, it is something, you know. It's very, very powerful. In our personality life, active... Make sure I read everything. Yeah. In our personality life, active is traditionally associated with the male, the masculine, and leadership, while passive and supporting activities are associated with the female and the feminine. I'm going to read that again because you had a lot of people who talks about the active and the passive. Now we can break down. And Carl Jung is very popular with doing this with the anima and animus. I have a video on the Darius Corbin channel. I have this channel, then I have the Darius Corbin channel, which is way older than the Mystery School channel where I first began. So check that out sometimes. But Carl Jung talked about the anima and animus. And so do a little bit more research on that as well. In our personality life, active is traditionally associated with the male, the masculine, and leadership, while passive and supporting activities are associated with the female and the feminine. We need to move beyond these associations to experience the true essence and nature of duality. In addition, convention has dictated that mental activities are more suited to males and the masculine, and emotional or feeling activities to women and the feminine. So family, what it is saying is we need to move beyond the titles that you have given to these aspects of who we are as one. Like it said, the emotional side, the passive side has always been associated with the female. So when you see a male with that type of energy, it's always been, this brother's gay, this brother's weak, this brother's soft. When you see a active side in a female, usually she's a stud, she's a lesbian, she's a tomboy. But what this book and what I am telling you, and what have people like Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud told you, is that these are active and passive are both aspects in male and female. But once they are maybe some are more higher or more imbalanced than the other, and when you have that, you're going to have a little bit more than the other. But it is time for us to really study what this is, because if you don't know, you won't grow, literally. I'm going to read that one more time. See what time we got. For those who know, I usually do about an hour video. This is a new phone, by the way, so if it goes to an hour, you guys going to get an hour presentation. If I feel like it needs to be shorter, then it will. But I can tell and I can feel the energy that this is one that you guys are going to love. And I thank you for liking that. And I thank you for loving it. Hit the subscribe button. My brothers and sisters, leave a comment. We're here, and we're here for each other. That's the most important thing. Don't feel like you're alone. If you ever feel like you're alone, Hit the Darius Corbin Mystery School up. I got a lot of videos. Hit me up on Instagram. Hit me up on Facebook. I'm your brother. I'm your Christ brother. There's many more like me here, and you are one of them. So don't ever question yourself. Don't ever put yourself down. We're in a higher vibrating level now. In our personality life, once again, active is traditionally associated with the male, the masculine, and the leadership, while passive and supporting activities are associated with the female and the feminine. We need to move beyond these associations to experience the true essence and nature of duality. In addition, convention has dictated that mental activities are more suited to males and the masculine, and emotion or feeling activities to women and the feminine. This view ignores the fact that both females and males have brains and mental faculties. Whoa. This view ignores the fact that both females and males have brains and mental faculties. When these are fully developed, each sex is capable of expressing considerable balanced intelligence. Both genders also have emotional natures capable of considerable tenderness. And I like to slow it down a little bit so you understand exactly what I'm saying, so you can make your own comprehension at the end of this video. Because I like the people who watch this video, when you push the stop button or it stops itself, I like you, whether it's the half a day or whole day, to reflect on what I say, because all this relates to you, whether you want to accept it or not. So I'm going to read that again. In addition, convention has dictated that mental activities are more suited to males and the masculine, and emotional or feeling activities to women and the feminine. This view ignores the fact that both females and males have brains and mental faculties. When these are fully developed, each sex is capable of expressing considerable balanced intelligence. Both genders also have feeling. Consciously developing and learning to assess mental and emotional energies and faculties despite our general body seems to be a major challenge for us. We need to sit back and have these conversations. We need to sit back as a group. The problem is people are walking around saying that the world is going through mental illness and mental health issues. That's not it. You want to know the truth? The truth is that the people who are in power are mentally screwed up. They have done a lot of wicked stuff, screwed over a lot of great people, killed a lot of the true people who had the knowledge of what Christ really meant to us, and they're walking around here masquerading as the truth when they're really false, evil, wicked people. Their days are numbered, so don't worry about it. But at the same time, we as a people must come together. If all of us, imagine thousands of people in one room with that one focus. Scientists, our government, what are shadow governments? They all know this, that if people come together and they meditate with one focus, let's say that we come together, thousands of us, and our main focus is to heal the world and to bring peace. Let's go even deeper to say that we come together and we, thousands of us, meditate, and our one focus is to have access to the divine beings from another dimension and see what happens. That's why they give you these TV shows. That's why they give you this music to brainwash you. We don't need any more entertainers and artists. We need astrophysicists, astrophysicists. We need astronomers. We need astrologists. We need all of that. We need metaphysics. We need all of that at this time. Not brainwashing our kids, but teaching them. Let me go back in. Once again, this view ignores the fact that both females and males have brains and mental faculties. When these are fully developed, each sex is capable of expressing considerable balanced intelligence. Both genders also have emotional natures capable of considerable tenderness, compassion, and deep feelings. Consciously developing and learning to access mental and emotional energies and faculties despite our gender body seems to be a major challenge for us. It goes on to say, when in balance, it is true that any active energy tends to dominate passive or receptive energy on any level. However, it says, when in balance, our mental and emotional natures can work in full and equal partnership with each other to fulfill their creative roles. They have been giving you one side of the story that says, when in balance, it is true. It said, when in balance, active energy, one dominates the other. So when you got imbalance, you're going to have more masculine than feminine energy. That's true. But it says, however, when in balance, our mental and emotional natures can work in full and equal partnership with each other to fulfill their creative roles and purpose in our lives. Whether we are male or female, achieving this feminine masculine, it's a hyphen in the middle, so it goes together. Feminine masculine. Let me see where I'm at so I don't lose track. Whether we are male or female, achieving the feminine masculine balance internally is another level of the legendary mystic marriage in most religions, spiritual or philosophical belief systems. Because left side, right side. Christ said, cast your net on the right side. I want you to understand this as a metaphysician, me speaking. The left side has always been known as the masculine side. The right side, whoa, and my left ear is ringing, powerful. Wow. It just cut on as soon as I said that. The left side is the masculine side. The right side is the feminine side. So when it says give 10%, we only use 10% of our conscious. The other 90% is subconscious. So instead of tithing and giving your money to church, you give that 10% to the rest of the subconscious. Now you're in tune with the divine spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost, or in truth, the divine feminine aspect. And we're going to talk about that maybe and not in this video, part 2. Because if you guys want to see a part 2, hit the like button, leave a comment. I want y'all to let me know what you think of this video, because this is your video now. Share it, do what you got to do with it, but this is your video now. When in balance, it is true that active energy tends to dominate passive or receptive energy on any level. However, when in balance, our mental and emotional natures can work in full and equal partnership with each other to fulfill their creative roles and purpose in our lives. Whether we are male or female, achieving this feminine masculine balance internally is another level of the legendary mystic marriage in most religions, or in most religious, spiritual, or philosophical belief systems. From a spiritual perspective, whether energy is active positive or passive negative is a matter of psychic or psychic function. Both males and females have masculine active positive and feminine passive negative aspects to their inner outer natures, as within as without, and their bodies and faculties. Whether one is dominant or submissive depends on their respective and psychic role, cycle role, in fulfilling individual or collective purpose. Since creative periods are incredibly long as it relates to one human lifespan, as humans we tend to classify our life from birth to death through our gender roles, their characteristics and abuses. Our individual and collective internalization of gender conditioning erroneously passes on to subsequent generations as some kind of natural law. The abuses act to fuel ongoing gender conflict. So it says the misconception that we put on ourselves about our gender for not knowing who we are reflects and goes right into the next generation. And we're seeing that now. Imagine back in the 1500s, what they did with their sexuality and lack of understanding that now our generations are paying the consequences for. So if we don't wise up, the next generation will pay for ours and our ancestors. Since creative periods are incredibly long as it relates to one human, this is where we at again. Since creative periods are incredibly long as it relates to one human lifespan, as humans we tend to classify our life from birth to death through our gender roles, their characteristics and abuses. Our individual and collective internalization of gender conditioning erroneously passes on to subsequent generations as some kind of natural law. The abuses act to fuel ongoing gender conflict. Just as we give life to our thoughts, remember that. Just as we give life to our thoughts, remember that. Just as we give life to our thoughts and emotions individually through our devic body consciousness, collectively, our gender beliefs create living masculine and feminine entities. Now, if I got to bring it back to 101 for you, I will. It doesn't matter what you think, whether you speak it aloud or to yourself, you create an entity in the ethers that goes on to have a life of its own. This is facts. This is Snapple facts. Did you know that? Every thought you think, whether it comes out of your mind or, well, it all comes out your mind, but whether it comes out your mouth or whether you say it to yourself, creates its own entity. If you don't know what entity is, Google it. So what are you thinking? What comes out your mind on a day-to-day basis? Just as we give life to our thoughts and emotion individually through our devic body consciousness, collectively our gender beliefs create living masculine and feminine entities. In this same devic essence, living within the unconscious realm of human life, they become part of the collective human consciousness. I really just hope y'all understand what I'm saying. Because if you think you're just walking around being you, whether you're Steve, Dan, Teresa, Jeff, Kim, whoever you are, and you think you're just that, not knowing that there are forces and entities within you, then as the song says, you got another thing coming. Living within the unconscious realms of human life. And remember, I told you about the iceberg comparison, right? You only see the tip of who you are, the tip of who you are, the essence of who you are, just like that the bottom half that is submerged underwater of the iceberg. Who you are is within you in your subconscious, what we call the subjective or the soul. That's you. This personality that you created through your family and people outside of you is a mask. Living within the unconscious realms of human life, they become part of the collective human consciousness. As such, they survive our physical death. Whoa, TikTok viral moment. Woo! You gone. But they live. You already see you at the cross. I'm gonna be somebody. You already gone. I'm gonna be somebody. But living within unconscious realm of human life. Let's read that whole thing again. Just as we give life to our thoughts, listen to this, family, and emotions individually through our devic body consciousness, collectively our gender beliefs, what you believe about you as a male or female, create living masculine and feminine entities. God, in the same devic essence. Living within unconscious realms of human life, of your life, they become part of the collective human. They become a part of you. They become a part of your consciousness. As such, they survive our physical death as the inheritance of future generations. You know what? I'm going to stop here. I'm going to do a part 2. This is a viral moment. This whole presentation is viral. Because now, once you push the stop button and this thing ends, you can, whenever you get a chance, meditate on this. You went to church your whole life and didn't know this about yourself. Preacher couldn't tell you. He too busy or she too busy telling you what's wrong with your life. And then to find out 20 or 30 years later, they were doing wild stuff even more crazy than you were doing. Bananas. Crazy. So I'm going to do a part 2. 45 minutes. I think the minister has gave you guys enough for the day. Leave comments. Hit the like button, subscribe, share. You are my brothers and sisters. Some of you watching right now, since you were kids, knew that you were spiritually different. You try to tell your parents, you try to tell loved ones. They didn't want to hear it. They called you crazy. Some of you even talked about seeing spaceships in your dreams. Some of you as kids, you would sit back and you would sleep and something would hold you and you try to scream and you couldn't. I know. And if you've been through these things, hit the like button. Leave comments. We are here. The problem is we don't have people to sit around and talk about. We don't have people to sit back, because we got a lot of people to talk about, obviously. We don't have people to gather around. We sit back and we talk about certain issues in our life. Why? Because people don't want to trust people no more. They feel like if I tell you something about my life, you're going to go tell the next person. And to be honest, they're not all the way false. But we have to build this community, this healing community. As many hospitals we have, we need healing communities where we can come together and we can trust one another and we can heal together spiritually. There's so many levels of healing. But we need to start doing this now, because this divine and feminine energy is coming and it's going to shift everything. And if you're not understanding what's happening, then it's going to be a war, an unnecessary war, like every other war is. So I'm going to read this one part one more time, and then I'm going to stop there. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. We are here now. For those watching, I got a very powerful trip I'm about to take. I'm about to take flight. And for those who are watching the Darius Corbin Mystery School, keep on watching. If you guys like great entertainment and you guys just like traveling, tell a friend to subscribe to the Darius Corbin Mystery School, because what I'm about to show you coming in July is going to be a game changer. But until then, tune in. Thank you guys for your love. Thank you for watching. I'm about to go in one more time. Just as we give life to our thoughts and emotions individually through our deviant body consciousness, collectively our gender beliefs create living masculine and feminine entities in the same deviant essence. Living within the unconscious realms of human life, they became part of the collective human consciousness. As such, they survive our physical death as the inheritance of future human generations. Unconsciously, they shape or even dominate our present gender interactions. These entities exist by feeding off the psychic energy generated through our continued conflict or sense of gender victimization. If you guys are ready for part 2, let me know. In part 2, I'm going to break down the author. I'm going to break down the book. This is your life. You are greater. It's time for you to start knowing you are greater. Till next time, peace.